Today, a remarkable set of demographic, of economic, of technological, of cultural changes, such as the aging and the diversification of our society, the shift in the economy away from an economy based on measures of consumption, real estate, and financial shenanigans, as we shift that to more measures of production and manufacturing and innovation. All of these things place a brand new emphasis on social and industrial infrastructure. And where those changes are occurring, I think, are also profoundly important. By the year 2025, more than half the world's population is going to be living in cities and in urban areas. And I think those changes are generally positive for lots of different reasons. But all of these things then need to be facilitated by innovative, inclusive, sustainable, social, and industrial infrastructure.
There are many social challenges globally. It could be water, it could be energy, it could be urbanization. The degree of these social challenges is prioritized differently by region due to the factor including environment and public policies. At the same time, these social challenges need to be re-examined and modified every 3 years, 5 and 10 years.
There are huge transformative changes occurring in social and industrial infrastructure, and we're seeing this across all industries. So it's water, energy management, it's even agriculture, right, which is a relatively old-fashioned industry. We're starting to see changes there, transportation systems, industrial plants, everything, right? Now, at the heart of this is data, right? So data used to be something that enterprises collected and hoarded, right? For decades, that's what they did. They thought this was their own private assets. Now we're really starting to see an era in which data is becoming more open. We're starting to break down silos. And more importantly, we're starting to put data to work. We're trying to tease out of the data, can we build predictive models? And what's interesting is that once you start to do this for one class of equipment, whether it's sort of trucks sort of used in the mining industry or sort of elevators and air conditioning systems inside complex buildings, campuses, and so on, you start to see that there's actually commonality across the analytic models and the data management platforms that we need.
We've established a couple of POCs with some of the biggest hospitals in Copenhagen. And what we're helping them do is really understand how can they take fairly normal and uninteresting data, in this case around refrigeration units, and help the hospital really manage themselves and the hospital and the patient care better. People talk about big data and data as the new oil. And is it really the new oil? And somebody came up to me and said, Hans, I don't think that's the right way of looking at it. It's not the new oil, because if it is, you're going to treat it as something that you can sell and make money off of. What it should be looked at least that's what I think, is the new soil. It's something that if you cultivate it the right way, you can actually build something greater out of it. And I think for cities and for companies around the world, maybe discussing that mind shift could make sense in order to understand what we really want to do with the data and how we share it and how we use it.
What we realized over the course of the last 2 decades is that we are a much larger community. We have been functioning as silos. The 7 states, the 2 countries, meaning the United States and Mexico, we've been functioning as silos. And when you really started to look at it and you began to understand the plumbing system that is the Colorado River, you have a larger economic impact and a larger community of interest that extends from Cheyenne all the way up through California to the Sacramento-San Joaquin Bay Delta. There needed to be, and this is where using big data, using the kind of data we'd never really looked at before, began to change our relationships, began to have us look at those that had in the past been our fiercest adversaries and our fiercest competitors as being our strategic partners, and beginning to think as a basin rather than thinking as a water supply for Nevada or for California or for Arizona, and recognizing that we had to make this whole system function together.